I'm Olivia and welcome back to my channel.
Won't stop the beat and go.
So in today's video, we're going to be making these gorgeous crochet shorts inspired from Marv's New York. I'm going to link her Instagram and her website in the description, but I made my own little twist on it, so feel free to stick around to the end. So what you'll need is about 4 different colors, and I've got 2 balls of each color, but I'm not sure how much yarn I'm going to be needing. And then I've got, I think this is a 2mm crochet hook. I'm not entirely sure. 2 or 2.5. But to get started, I'm going to take the green. To start, I'm going to make a slip knot. And then I'm going to stick my needle through the slip knot. And I'm going to make a chain of 4. So that's yarn around your needle, pull through 1. Yarn around your needle, pull through 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to go into the first chain that we did with the slip knot. So that's place your needle into the first chain, catch the yarn on the other side, pull through, so you have 2 loops, and then just pull through again. So now we're going to start row 1, and we're going to make a chain 1, 2. So we're chaining 2, then we're going to make 3 double crochets, so that's yarn around your needle, and we're working into this little middle gap here. I don't know if you can see properly, but to me it's visible. So 1, 2. Okay, so that's basically our first cluster of 3 double crochets, because this chain 2 counts as a double crochet. Then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to make another group of 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, then chain 2, 1, 2, and make another group of 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to do another group of 3 double crochets. 1, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then we're going to join the row to that chain 2 that we did. So we're going to make a slip stitch into that second chain that we did for our first stitch, and then we're going to slip stitch. So I don't know if you can see, but these are the corners. So where we did our chain 2s is the corners of the square. Row 2, I mean, so 1, 2. So we're going to start by chaining 2. Actually, chain 3 because of the chain 1, and we're going to make, so we're working into a corner now, so we're making 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, then we're going to chain 2, so we're going to go 1, 2, and make another group of 3 double crochets, because this is what we call an increase. So we're increasing to make the corners. I don't know if you can see, so that's one corner. And we chain 1, and we're going to do the same in all 4 corners. So I'll meet you at the end of the corners once we've done all the corners. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and continue the same thing. So we're coming to that. Well, I've done my last stitch and I've worked the last corner, so you can see 3 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, and why I'm doing 2 is because we're going to join the row by slip stitching into that chain 3 that we did. So we're going to go into the second chain that we did. So 1, 2, and we're going to slip stitch. Okay, now we're going to start row 3. and we're going to change color. So I'm going to cut the yarn, and we're going to take the white next. Also, you don't have to do exactly these colors. You can do whatever colors you want, or you don't even have to change colors. You can just keep going. So now I'm going to chain 1, 2, and then I'm going to make 3 double crochets into this gap, because we're working now along a side. This is the side of the square, and then this next gap that we're going to go into is a corner, so we're going to increase. You can see the corner, so we're going to go 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to do 3 double crochets again. And then we're going to work into the gap, the side gap here, chain 1, and then work into the side gap, 1, 2, 1, 3, chain 1, and then work into the side gap again. So you can see the pattern. It's pretty simple. And I'm just going to do this for 2 more rows in, well, 1 more row in this white color. So I'm doing 2 rows of white. So I'll meet you once we're at the end of this row. Okay, so we worked the last corner, and then I chained 1, and now we're going to slip stitch into the next round. Then I'm going to chain 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and I'm gonna do 3 double crochets into that gap. So I'm not working there because we'll be working backwards. You can kind of see by the positioning of this chain that you'll need to join the 2 double crochets at the end of the row to this chain. So we're gonna do 3 double crochets in this gap, and then we're gonna increase in this corner. 1, 2, 3, chain 2, and then increase again. So I'll meet you once we are at the end of this row. So I'm working into the last gap there. So I've done 2 double crochets, and then we're going to join to that chain 2 that we did in the beginning of the row. So now I'm going to change colors, and I'm changing to orange. So I'm going to do a slip knot, and we're basically just going to do the exact same thing. So I'll tell you the color patterns that I'm doing. I'll actually keep you updated. So I'm going to do 2 more rows of orange, and then I'm going to do 1 row of this like minty color, and then I'm going to do 2 rows of this, like, I don't know what blue this is. It's like a royal blue. I don't really know. So here's the color pattern that I'm going to be using. So 2 rows of green, 1 row of the cream color, 2 rows of orange, then 1 row of this, like, I don't know what color it is, and then 2 rows of this royal blue. And then 2 rows of this green. And then we start the pattern again, and we go for 17 rows in total. But you don't have to do this exact pattern that I'm doing. You can do really whatever you want. It's entirely up to you. But the granny square is pretty self-explanatory, so I'm going to stop explaining at the end of the row, and I'll meet you at the end of row 17. And I'll show you what we're going to do next. Chain 1, and then I'm going to end the row by slip stitching into the chain 3 that we did at the chain 2 at the beginning of the row. So now we've chained 3, and we're going to work into the next gap. So we're just going to go on and on and on until row 17. And also you don't have to go till row 17. You may be bigger or smaller than me, so you'll do more rows. It all depends on you. So yeah. Or you might want your shorts longer or shorter, and you'll do less or more rows depending. So yeah. Okay, so I did 17 rows, so this orange is the last row, and I just carried on with this to make this longer, because yeah, I'll show you why just now. But I'm basically just going to show you how I did these bits. I'll show you one row, and then you can basically just do it yourself because it's pretty easy. So we're basically just making the square now a rectangle. So you'll get your yarn, or whatever color you're using next. I'm using this blue, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a slip knot. And then we're going to go in the same direction as the stitch, because if we were to start on this side, we'd be working the wrong side of the stitch. So, of the square. So, we're going to chain 2. So, 1, 2. And then now we're going to do 2 double crochets. 1, 2. And then we're going to chain 1, and then we're going to make 3 double crochets. Well, we only did 2 here because of this chain 2. This counts as a double crochet. So we're doing 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and then we're basically just going to do this until we get to the other side, because we're working in the gaps. And then also when you get to the corners, we're not increasing because we're working straight. So it's pretty easy, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. So I'm finished the blue, and now I'm gonna take my next color, and we're gonna make a slip knot, and I'm gonna chain 3, so 1, 2, 3, flip my work around, and then we're not going to work into that gap. We're working into this gap here. I mean, there are no gaps to work into there, so we just work a double crochet, well, 3 double crochets into this gap, and then we basically just carry this on for 7 more rows. So I'll do 2 more rows, 2 rows of this blue, then 2 rows of the green, and then 2 rows of the dark green. So I'll meet you once I've done that. Chain 1, and then I'm gonna go along. Okay, so I'm finished the granny square now. I'm done the last stitch. And what we're gonna do now is take this other granny square that we did off camera. Single crochet the squares together, but I have them lined up, both the wrong way around on the outside. So you can see this is the wrong way around, because this is like, you can tell it's like a rough kind of, as opposed to the right way around, which will be on the outside. So you're sewing the seams together kind of. So we're just gonna stick my needle through the stitch, and then I'm gonna catch the yarn on the other side and pull it through. And then we're just gonna line all the stitches up and single crochet our way down the square. We're not going all the way down, because I'll show you why in a few seconds. But this is what we're going to be doing. So we're going through both loops, and I'll meet you when I've crocheted down to like there. So I have crocheted, joined the 2 squares together down the middle, and I'll tell you how many gaps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, basically to 11 gaps down, which is about 19 centimeters. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to take my scissors, I'm going to cut off the yarn and fasten it through. Okay, so now we're going to sew the other sides together. So we're going to fold it this way. So the seams are still on the outside. So we're going to fold it this way. So this is the right way around and the seam on the side is out. So we're going to be sewing these sides together. So we're going to take two corners like so, like we did previously, and we're just going to join them together like we did. So I'm going to fast forward to when I have sewn them together about in the same place as the other side. So I'll meet you then. So what's going to happen is now we're going to start making the leg holes. So we've sewn together all this part that will go down the middle, and then this is basically, these gaps are where the leg holes will go. So what's going to happen is I'm going to make a chain
of 26.
of 20. So 1, 2, so what we're going to do now is join this chain to the other side. So I'm going to make go into the stitch there and make a slip stitch. And it's as easy as that. And what's going to happen now is I'm going to take the white and we are going to start working our way around the leg holes, each leg hole individually. Okay, so this is basically what it should look like. So you can kind of see how the leg holes are gonna work. So yeah, let's get started. So I've just done the leg hole, the one leg hole, as you can see off camera. And then I'm gonna do the other one and I'm gonna show you how I did it. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna stick your needle, actually we can go here, stick your needle in the gap, and then I'm gonna take my next color, which is this cream, and we're gonna work our way to the other side. So I'm gonna chain 2, 1, 2, and then I'm gonna do 2 double crochets, 1, 2, then chain 1, and then basically just work your way to this gap, like just working 3 double crochets in each gap, and I'll show you what we're gonna do once we're there, like here. So we're chaining 1, and then we are going into that end gap here with a group of 3 double crochets. So now we are going to this chain, which we worked the previous leg hole. So basically what's going to happen is we're also going to work this leg hole. As you can see, I don't know how to explain this, but we're going to be crocheting 2 stitches. So we're working 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So you single crochet for 3 stitches, and then you flip your work around chain 1, and then we make 3 double crochets into that gap. So for the previous leg hole, I did it off camera just to be double sure of what I was actually doing. So you join, so when you come to this chain, you crochet 2 rows up or 3 stitches up, and then you start your double crochet. So I'll show you again on the way back when I do this again, because it's not that difficult. But obviously when you're crocheting the first leg hole, it will be just the chain. Like you can kind of see what I've done. So like you go back and forth, and where you start when you finish the row, you chain up and then you work across, and then you chain up and work across. So I hope that makes sense. But I'll show you again. So going into that last stitch with 1 double crochet, because you can see there's no gap to work into. So I'm going to take my next color, which will be orange. I'm going to make a slip knot, and then I'm going to take the slip knot, put it through, and chain 2, flip my work around, and then make a group of 2 double crochets, because that chain 2 counts as 1 double crochet. And then we're going to do this until we get to this other end. So I'll meet you when I am there. Okay, so now I've done 3 double crochets into that gap, and then now I'm going to crochet up the chain for 3 stitches. Like you basically just single crochet and flip my work around, and then I'm going to make 2 double crochets into this next gap. And why we're only doing 2 double crochets instead of 3 is because those 3 single crochets we did along that chain kind of make up for the 1 double crochet. And then we're just going to continue doing this until we get to the top of the chain when we work enough rows. Okay, so now we are finishing off, well, we're going to start the second row of the white. So I'm just going to chain up and then chain and then start our 3 double crochets in this gap here, and then we're just going to continue to the other side, and I'm going to show you what we'll be doing once we are done that. So we're just going to continue. I do apologize, it's a bit messy, but you'll see it will come together and you'll understand the whole process. Okay, so I finished crocheting this last row of the white, and what we're going to do is I've turned my pants inside out, as you can see, because the seams where we sewed previously are exposed. So I'm going to take these 2 pieces together, and I'm going to stick my needle through that stitch we have going on there, and then through the other side, and we basically just gonna single crochet the 2 pieces together. So that was a slip stitch, but this is a single crochet, and we're just gonna do this until we are at the other side. So I'll meet you once we are in the middle, like there. Okay, so I'm coming into that, well, the last few stitches of this, the leg holes of sewing together from up down there, and I'm just gonna actually just find wherever I can and go into it, coming to the end here, because it's a little bit messy. Yours doesn't have to be as messy as mine, but we'll deal with the messiness at a later stage. I'm just going to take these strands from where I finished from crocheting these sides together, and I'm just going to tie a knot just to make it extra secure. So that's the shorts for now, and then what we're going to do next is make the waistband. So this is kind of what it looks like inside out. You can see it's the leg holes, and I'll give you a little try on haul quickly, but we're gonna have to sort out the waist situation because it's quite large around the waist. So I'll quickly show you what it looks like on. So this is what the shorts look like on at the moment. They're a little bit baggy, but we're gonna sort that out by making a waistband. So yeah. Okay, so for the waistband, we are taking the cream color, and we are going to start by making a chain. So I'm going to make a chain of 16. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I'm going to chain 2, and we're going to work half double crochets into every stitch. So that's yarn around your needle, through the stitch, catch the yarn on the other side, pull it through. So you have 3 loops, catch the yarn, pull through all 3 loops. So we're doing that until we get to the other side, and I'll meet you once we are there. So we worked into that last stitch. I'm going to chain 1, and we're going to do these half double crochets, but into the back pillar of every stitch. So we usually go through both V's. I don't know if you can see. So we usually go through both these V's, but now we're just going to go through one of these V's. So the back loop of every stitch. So, and we're going to be half double crocheting. Like so. And what's nice is that this is pretty simple. We are basically just doing this for however many rows until it's long enough to fit around your waist. So it's entirely up to you. So the pattern is quite customizable. So so you can see it kind of creates a rib here. See? So I'll meet you at the end of the row. We worked into that last stitch. I'm going to chain 1, and we're going to start working our half double crochets in every stitch in the back loop. So I'll meet you once I've done enough rows to fit around my waist. So yeah. Okay, so I never really filmed this waistband making, but I did 116 rows, which is a little bit too big, but that's fine, because I don't want it to cinch around this waistband too much, as we are going to put an elastic. And then I just want to explain to you what I did here is that I made like a double crochet on like either side of each rib, really, or sometimes I did a bit more. I kind of just improvised, but you don't want too many stitches in, because then it will be bigger than your waistband and it will jut out. So why I did this, I don't know how many rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of double crochet is to we're gonna fold it over like so, and then we're gonna put an elastic in. So you'll see the process. I'm going to film that and you'll see what I'm going to do. And also, I just want to say that you don't need to put the elastic in like I am. You can literally just sew the waistband to your pants and make a chain, and you can use a drawstring. But I'm trying elastic and I'll let you know how that goes. So yeah. So I just stupidly cut off the side of where I just finished this last stitch. But now what we're going to do is we're going to join the row join this double crochets to the ribbing by doing I'm doing a slip stitch, but I just need to catch the yarn, but we're going to join it by doing single crochets. So I'm going to stick my needle into the stitch. So what we're doing now is we're sewing the double crochet row to the ribbing part, and we're basically just making single crochets, and it's that easy. So I'll meet you once I've done the entire row. The entire thing. So yeah. Also, what I'm going to do, so it's going to be easier to get the elastic through, I'm just going to put the elastic through now, and as I move along, I'm just going to push it through. So yeah. And then also your elastic, you want it to be like a bit smaller than your waist. So I'm going to deal with that later. So yeah. Okay, so now we have finished crocheting this part to the waistband. We are going to single crochet our way around the circumference of the waist. So we're doing that that's how we're going to be joining this part to this part. And then once we've done that, I'll show you how we're going to deal with the elastic. So I just stuck my needle through the stitch there, in the middle. And then I'm just going to pull it through, and then we're going to now single crochet like so. And you want to single crochet into like the top loop on both sides. I don't know if that makes any sense. So like that, and then like that. So I'll meet you once we are back at the side. And then also the waistband is slightly smaller than the shorts, the waistband on the shorts. So you might need to stretch it here and there to this to fit to that. So I'll meet you once I'm finished. So what we're doing now is we're gonna sew the elastic down before I join these two pieces together. Then I'm gonna lift the foot up, then take it away. Cut it away. So I've finished sewing this waistband to the actual pants, and what we're going to do now is we're just going to and I've also sewn the elastic together, and what we're going to do now is we're going to sew these two pieces together now. Not sew, I mean crochet. So what you'll obviously need to do is crochet this way around, like the back pieces together, and then you'll crochet the front. You'll just basically go over there. So I'll meet you once we are there. We're single crocheting, so I'll meet you once I have completed that. So now what we're gonna do is, I cut off the yarn here, and then we're just gonna weave away the yarn to the other side. And then also, now you're done. And this is the final product. And now we just need to cut away all these like loose strands. And then you can call it a day. It's finished. So, and I'll give a little try on haul.
Here's a little 360 of the shorts, and if you like this video, please feel free to subscribe and hit the like button. And thanks for watching and sticking around to the end.